Well, to tell us what's been happening behind the numbers, I'm joined by Serame Taukobong. He's the Group CEO at Telkom. Thank you very much, Ndade Serame, for joining us. Now, in your report, you speak about difficult economic context that you've been operating in. How did that translate in the performances of your various key divisions?
Thank you very much for having me here, and good afternoon to your viewers. Absolutely, I think if we look at the difficult conditions we are operating in, obviously it does expect or impact on consumer spending. And we saw the biggest impact being in BCX, where there's been a delay in the recovery of the market, and we're seeing that translating into the revenues that we see. I think what's been encouraging for us, though, however, despite those challenges, has been a positive growth in our fiber business and OpenServe. For the first time in a long time, we've actually held revenue flat. And yes, as you mentioned in your opening slides, the mobile business does continue to grow despite the challenges that we are facing.
Yeah. So you managed to contain operational costs. Those declined by 4% in the period. Where have you been trying to cut the fat?
I think for us, it's been an ongoing program of making sure that our cost to serve, especially on our mobile business, becomes far, far more efficient. And I think this is paying out. As you see, we've managed to hold our EBITDA above 27% as a result of these ongoing focus on cost motivation and ensuring that we drive efficiency as we grow the market.
So how do you ensure that you continue to be ahead of the game, so to speak, given that you do outline that there's an awful lot of competition, especially during and post the COVID era? How do you, differentiate yourself from other players?
I think we are fortunate in Telkom that we can actually punch with both hands. The mobile continues to drive very aggressive and very customer-friendly data pricing. We are also now using our fiber business, especially fiber to the home, to make sure that we also tap into that lucrative market. So Telkom has, as I always say, many arrows in our quiver, and that's allow us to then drive the growth in broadband.
So tell us about the spectrum. We know that you invested a fair amount. Just remind us how much you invested in spectrum and ultimately what you're hoping to do with the allocation that you got. Where are you going to be investing it?
So the spectrum auction worked out quite well for Telkom. We got 50 megahertz in what we call the 3500 gigahertz bands, which is quite critical for 5G. Telkom Mobile has never had sub 1 gig, so the 800, we got that. That then increases our overall holding to 170 megahertz in total. So the sub 1 gig will help us to be more efficient in how we roll out our CapEx. The 3500 is definitely the 5G future spectrum, so it's gearing us up for the future. And I think the cost that we paid at 2.1 were a strong auction process. So for us, it's really about making sure that our mobile remains competitive and also our CapEx is now more efficiently deployed with having access to a sub 1 gig.
There's a bit of a delay on our line, but we have less than 1 minute. So what's the outlook going forward for this year?
So the outlook for this year, we continue on the value unlock program. The key thing for us is executing on the key pillars within our business that mean to increase our value. We have a very strong infra-core type entity, both in the fiber that we hold, as well as the data centers that we hold. And the key thing for us is really finding the right strategic partners to make sure that we can unleash these projects and create better value for our shareholders.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and for speaking to us here on Point. That was Serame Taukobong. He's the Group CEO of Telkom.